What's up, Josh? Hey, man, how you feeling?
Hey,
Can you hear me fine? Can you hear me?
section to use this. Hold on. Oh, I know how to do this, man. I don't really use Zoom.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there we go. I hear you.
What's up, man?
What's going on? Sorry about that.
Oh, man, you're good.
You know?
Yeah, as long as we figure it out at some point, you know.
Yeah, this is different for me.
Do you hear a lot of background noise on my end?
It's cool. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to add all right, so I'm just adding a screen share. In case if you have any videos of those trumpets you sent me, just pull them up here. Cool. First one. Do you think would be good to talk about? I'll just
Yeah.
leave that there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Man, it's a pleasure to have you here, man. It's you know, you're one of the trumpet players. When I first moved to New York City, at least before I moved to New York City, I was watching the Smalls live stream, and I would be checking all the cats that are on the scene. And man, when I saw you and Stacy and all those guys, you know, I think your generation like did something so special for the scene, man. Like I just was talking to Stacy yesterday, like the community, the New York vibe. Like you guys have a big part to do with that. And you know, I'm so honored that you're here, bro. I look up to you as a trumpet player. Man, how you feeling today, bro?
I'm feeling pretty good. A little tired, but good. You know, I'm glad you invited me. You know, I remember when we first met, and I've been rooting for you ever since. You know, yeah, you're my guy.
You already know, man. Trumpet game, man.
Yeah, yeah. You know, I just saw the Trumpet Mafia in New Orleans, and it was, and yeah, and I was like, this is there's something to this because all the trumpet players playing together, you know, it's a special thing, you know.
We need more of that. We need more of that, man. Where were you playing? Were you playing in New Orleans or?
Yeah, I was at the festival.
Dylan. Was it with Christian or was it
Yeah,
yourself?
yeah, Christian.
Amazing, man. How's that been, man? Playing with Christian's band, and you know, you guys been playing for quite some time, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's
Tell me a little bit about how that came about.
well, he says that he was watching me on YouTube, and he needed a trumpet player, and he started a band. He said, you know, he wanted to do something different, and that was 8 years ago, maybe. You know, so we've been playing for a long time, and the music's so open. You know, it's challenging. It's a challenging gig with no chords and it being so open, but it's also very fun. You know, very creative type of gig. You know.
Yeah, man, you were one of my first bands that I saw when I went to Winter Jazz Fest. I saw that band as well with you and Christian. So yeah, it's been almost a decade, man. That's an amazing. You have many albums out for people that are here. You know, you can always check out those the new John, right?
Right.
And so my thing is, right, like you know, as trumpet players, you know, we have those key cats that we always check out, those key musicians, you know, Clifford, Miles Davis, et cetera, et cetera. When did you get interested in some of the people? You sent me a list of cats that, you know, I know some of them, but I don't know all of them. I think still because I guess you sent to me underappreciated. Like sometimes people don't really know these guys are around and people don't talk about them enough. Like when did you get interested in those type of cats?
Well, I think growing up in Hartford was the greatest thing that could ever happen to me. You know, because the people that I was around at a very young age, and these people would always talk about the history of the music, and they would always tell us about people that weren't as well known, but could play just as well as anybody else. And then there's a lot of, it's like a repeated story in music. Like somebody will make a record or two and then you don't hear from them for a long time. You know, some people, like one is Webster Young. Webster Young's a great trumpet player from Washington, D.C. And he kind of sounded a little like a young Miles. Yeah, that type of thing. And he played beautifully. He made a record with John Coltrane. He made a record with Jackie McLean. And then he disappeared off the scene. And he got a job and he worked the rest of his life. You know. But guys like that are like, they're very special, and they sound so beautiful, like, you know.
And I love that because some people, I remember when we were talking to Eddie Henderson the other day, he was talking about how like he also look at it as, you know, someone like Miles also taking influence from somebody like Webster Young.
Absolutely. Because those guys were on the scene playing, you know.
Is there any like trumpet thing that I can pull up on my computer? Like that would be like something you would tell people to check out of Freddie Webster?
No, Freddie Webster and Webster Young are two different people.
I'm sorry, Webster Young, my bad.
Yeah, Webster Young came much later. Like his era is like he made recordings 56, 57 in that time. So Webster Young For Lady is the name of his one album that he put out.
Webster Young For
Lady. For Lady, yeah. And any of those are beautiful. And it's a great record.
Oh, amazing. I see some of them here. I'm gonna put these links in the Discord, man.
Cool.
Can y'all hear that?
No one can hear it.
Yeah, we can't hear it, man.
Can y'all hear that? Oh, okay, that's all right. That's all right. But I'm gonna put the links to that in the chat. I mean, in the chat, and also in Discord. So, Josh, man, who are some other people in terms of on that list would you talk about as well?
Wow. You know, I like them all for different reasons. Look at this list. Wow. Like I appreciate Cal Massey a lot. And you know, he was a trumpet player, but he's mostly known for his writing. And he wrote songs on recordings by John Coltrane and Lee Morgan, Jackie McLean. Like he had a song on 4 or 5 Lee Morgan records, you know. He got a song on Freddie Hubbard record. You know, he was like a musician's musician, you know. He wrote a song for the beautiful one is he wrote a song on the Archie Shepp record, the Attica Blues, and his daughter is singing. I don't know if you know this one. I can't think of the name of the song right now, but you know, just a great arranger, great trumpet player, just probably underappreciated, underrecorded.
Let's check that out, man. I think I just fixed the problem.
Okay.
You were saying.
So it's Archie Shepp, Attica Blues. Or you want to play this one?
Shepp.
Or if you want to play this one, yeah.
Can you put the name on it in the chat? You put the name of the artist in the chat, or the name of the album?
Are you talking about the Archie Shepp one?
Yeah, the Archie Shepp one, whichever one you think would be good to play.
Yeah, that works. Attica Blues. That's the album. I forget the title at the moment.
Is it up there? Not seeing it here. Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not pulling up, we can move it forward, man.
Yeah.
Uh,
Do that.
What would you say in terms of, I know in terms of some of these trumpet players, the ones that you feel that are, underappreciated, what do you feel like are some cool things to know about them that has influenced some of the, like an example, like with Miles Davis, and Webster Young, what are other instances like that? Do you feel like people are, maybe overlooked?
Well, I would say it's just different voices, Everybody has their own thing. Miles sounds like Miles, and Lee Morgan sounds like Lee Morgan. And and Webster Young sounds like Webster Young, so that's like, so the more voices that you can hear, I think you get a wider view of the reality of the music, because we weren't around in 1957, you and I, so we couldn't see people on a daily basis. So we have what we do have is these recordings.
Man, how do you shed these days, man? What's your shedding usually?
Man, I don't, to be honest with you, keep it real with you. Yeah, I don't practice at all. I warm up when I have a gig, and I try to warm up thoroughly. And I've been feeling it right now. I need to practice, but I've been, doing other things, man.
But what does that look like, right? When you're in that place where you're like intensely getting something together, or, times or things that you usually work on, like what does that look like for you?
Yeah, I don't want to say it like that's like the answer, you know what I'm saying? Because that's obviously, as a trumpet player, you need to keep playing. But when I really am practicing, I like to I mostly just deal with the horn, because the horn is, you just, to be able to play whatever you have in mind the way you want to play it is, I think, the ultimate idea, ultimate goal. So if I can play the trumpet well enough to play whatever I have in mind, then that should be good. See, you keep coming in and out. Technology.
Yeah, I think he's having some Wi-Fi troubles. He's had some bad internet. What's up, Josh?
Hey,
Thank you.
There we go.
Hello? Hello, can you still hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Mhm.
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello? Say something one more time.
One more time.
Yeah, we'll just edit all this out.
Hello? Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me? No?
I can hear you.
Yeah, man, my connection is super, super bad right now. But I want to keep the conversation going.
Yeah, I have a question, Josh.
Yeah.
Do you ever like visualize a performance before you play?
Visualize performance before I play. Visualize, right?
Yeah, like I'm thinking about the compositions and arrangements, the way you like are you conceiving of these ideas before you play?
You know what? That's a great question. I would say maybe when I was a lot younger, but I think now I've realized that when you write notes on paper, you arrange something for somebody, it's not going to come out the way you ever had it realize or envision. It's not going to happen, and people always put their own things on it, and I think mostly for the best, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. It's very interesting. Yeah. Wow. Does anybody else have questions? If you have questions, you can put them in the chat.
My internet has been really bad, but I think I caught a little bit of that about writing and how it's never the same as you envision it. Is that what you're talking about just now, Josh?
Yeah, yes, sir. Mhm. And also
I think
playing,
that
like, same with playing, like like when you're 15 or 16, or when you really first start, you might think of like, I'm gonna play this on this song, I'm gonna play this on that song, and then I'm gonna, something like that in that area. And the older you get, the more you realize that that's not gonna happen, and just let it be what it's gonna be.
Yeah, we actually do like arrangement and composition lectures with Dana Stevens. I'd love,
Mhm.
maybe you guys to talk about that. That would be so informative.
It is great. Yeah, but it's not gonna, let it be what it's gonna be. Let people's individuality show through, and and trust in the people that you got playing the music.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna head. Thank you.
Peace out.
Yeah. Man, what would you say in terms of writing music and like, in connection to what you're talking about? Are you thinking about every individual, or you're writing in hopes that every different configuration brings something else out of it?
It's really hard to write individually for every person, but like for like a feature or something, that is, or if you I like to write songs for people, and it's not that the song necessarily reflects them so much. It's just, it's a song, I think people get too artistic sometimes, be like, this is my portrait of this person, but I don't know. Can you put can you write yourself as notes? You know, I think that's silly. But you can't write something for somebody, and have it be a bit of their personality, something that you would like them to play on, something that you can hear them playing the melody over, things like that.
Hi, I actually have a question.
Okay.
I'm from Connecticut actually, and really close with a bunch of people from the JMAC Institute. And I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit more about growing up in the scene and like some people who influenced you really heavily in that area and things like that.
Sure. So I first went to the Artist Collective, the old Artist Collective that was on Clark Street, when I was 9 years old, and I did the summer program there, and I had barely started the trumpet, so I wasn't really doing much trumpet stuff. But then later on, I went back when I was about 13 or 14. And the first person I met was Dolly McLean, and she heard me audition, and she liked my sounds, and she told me that she was going to go home and tell Jackie about me. So the next week, Jackie came in, and I met him and played some music. He showed us some stuff. You know, it was his school, so he was there a lot. And it's a long story. Then I started studying with Raymond Williams, who's been my main teacher, you know. And so I studied with Raymond for about 4 years. And he showed me just about everything. And and it kind of proceeded, you know. I did all the things in Hartford. I did the Artist Collective. I did Guakia with Ray Gonzalez for a little while. I did the high school performing arts, and you know, Hartford is a beautiful place because we had access to so many great musicians like Steve Davis, Jimmy Green, Paul Brown, Chris Allen. So it was beautiful for such a small city that only really ever had one place to play at a time. You know, it was just beautiful being able to play with great musicians. And, I think some of the best musicians in New York are from Hartford. You know, I might be a little biased, but that's, you know, so.
Why do you think that is?
Well, there's something cool about small communities because everybody knows each other, and I don't know, like my contemporaries were like Lucas Curtis, Zakai Curtis, Desron Douglas, Ray McMorrin, and James Burton was at the school at that time, and Lummy Span. And I think we really were kind of hard on each other, and we kind of pushed each other to be better. Like we were really hard on each other, you know, and you know, I think it helped us to be better.
How often, like, were you playing with those guys?
Sometimes a lot, because I was in high school and they were in college. So I had to get over to the University of Hartford, you know, which wasn't close. So I got there when I could, and I did like it was funny when I was in high school. I did so many recitals, college recitals. Like I was doing college recitals, like a couple of weeks at the end of the year, you know.
Wow. Yeah, you're probably like in high demand.
It was funny. It was kind of funny, but it was nice, you know. It was good. It was good, and it, you know, so many great musicians, you know. Small community though.
You know, I think we have to use technology just to put, you know, the music and aspects of like the humanity of the culture. You know, I think more people in the world are in need of that more than ever now. You know, it just it has to happen.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I feel, you know, I kind of feel sorry for the like the new students that came in during this pandemic, because the only good thing about schools, really, certain schools, at least my school experience, was just being around other like-minded people.
Yeah.
And to go out and get your butt kicked, and then, you know, go back and work on it again, keep doing it, you know.
Did you say get your buckets? I didn't hear what you said.
But hits, like, I came to New York in 2002, and you would always see Roy Hargrove at the jam sessions. You would always see Jeremy Pelt at the sessions. And being 17, 18, 19, I got my butt kicked. And then what the thing would do is just to go back and keep working on it.
Wow,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
I
it.
remember that hit with you and like Seamus Blake, Frank Lacey a couple of years ago. That was like a real butt kicking, man.
But there's nothing better. There's nothing more valuable, I would say.
Yeah, I think it's something that, you know, is just not happening. You know, something. Do you think the power of it is on the music, or on, like, at this level and point in time, like the exposure and people seeing it, right? Because we're exploring, trying like ways to like put music out for people to like, you know, come on, people. Oh shit, Bodie, come on, man. Come here. Hold on, guys. Technical difficulties.
I have another question since we're kind of sitting here.
Yeah, please.
What you were saying about like everyone getting their butt kicked and things like that. I think Kyle was kind of going into this, but like, do you think, like, who do you think that's kind of up to, like, why it's missing nowadays? Like, do you think it's more of like each, like, because I'm pretty young, and I do think it's for like me and my peers, like we should more be hard on each other, or is it also like the people we look up to and like the elders? Like, do you like? I would just want to hear what you think about that, I guess.
Well, I would say there's a big difference between playing next to your peer, and then playing somebody that's somebody's record that you might buy, let's say. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So there's a huge difference, and just to immerse yourself in that, and it's just really helpful, you know. Like I said, there's a lot of trumpet players that all the trumpet players that I heard that were older than me and could play better than me at the time. Like it was just so helpful to be around them and to hear them and to play after them, play before them, and you know, just gives you an understanding, I would say.
Yeah, thank you.
Mhm.
I had a question.
Mhm.
I came in when you were talking about people going to school during the pandemic. I was one of those students,
Mhm.
and now I'm actually from New York, but I went to school in Texas, and I was just finding that school, in a way, is not really worth it. I guess I went to school with an expectation of I'm gonna learn and I'm gonna get my butt kicked,
Yeah.
and I guess being from New York, I wasn't gonna find that anywhere else in the country. But what would you say is, because I feel like even in New York, it's kind of lacking, like the butt kicking kind of thing. How would you seek out that kind of opportunity?
I agree with a lot of what you said. School, I don't think school is necessarily worth it for everybody. Um, being from New York, it's funny if you think about the cost of tuition, because I've thought about this before. If you think about the cost of tuition and dorm rooms, I went to Manhattan School of Music for a year and a half. I couldn't stand it. The dorms were a lot. So with all that money that you were spending, you could have just, even if you weren't from New York, you could have moved to New York, got an apartment, studied with anybody in the city you wanted to, maybe two people, anybody you wanted to, and just live and go out at night and absorb the music the natural way. You know, buy a bunch of records and just listen to them all day and practice. Right?
Right.
Yeah. But you know, I'm not totally dark on school, because I learned a lot. I learned a lot in high school. I went to the Greater Hartford Academy of Performing Arts, and my teachers were Dave Santoro, and I had Jimmy Green, and I don't know if you know Dave Santoro. He teaches at Berkeley, and he's like a theory guru. And I learned a lot. I learned so much at that time. I feel like when I went to Manhattan School of Music, everything was dumbed down. And I just kind of just stuck around for a year and a half just for hanging out and absorbing music. You know? But everybody's different. You know, some people have great experiences in music school.
Did you ever finish the school process? I mean, I dropped out, but I was wondering, did you
Yeah, I
ever?
did too. Yeah, I didn't finish. I did a year and a half, and then I got an apartment on 129th and Lenox, and I lived there. Rent was cheap, and I played little gigs around town, and I made it work. Salsa gigs, you know, whatever was happening.
Nice to know it's possible.
Mm. Yeah, I think rent was a lot cheaper then. It was a lot cheaper then. I think I paid $325. That was my first apartment. Paid $325 for a room. One of those Harlem Railroad buildings, apartments.
Hi, Josh. I really appreciate all the conversation. I actually have a question.
Mhm.
Um, I met you once at this session at Yours Sincerely. I'm a tap dancer, and I'm always curious to hear different musicians' perspective on tap dance and its place in the culture and everything. So feel free to.
You're sincerely that's in Brooklyn, is that?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
right, okay. Was I playing with Duke?
It was like Andrew Wagner, Alex.
I know what you're talking about. Okay, I got
It
it.
was a minute ago, for sure.
Okay. So the place of tap dancing, I love tap dancing. Tap dancing is it's the same as percussion and drumming and any rhythm. And uh, they do it quite a bit over in Jersey City at Moore's Lounge. There's usually tap dancers there. And I think it'd be even greater if it would be arranged, so you can really add tap dancers to a band, just as you would any instrument or percussionist or anything like that.
Yeah, I was actually curious before when you mentioned about writing music for people or for someone, if you had written anything for tap dance. I think that was,
No,
traditionally.
I've never no, I've never done that. I've never even sorry to say I've never even thought about it, but that'd be good. My mom tap danced when she was little, and she always loved it and still loves it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's some tunes, like I feel like Jimmy Lunsford wrote a few for some of the older cats back in the day. There's some arrangements.
Right.
Baby Prince has a
And
whole
then
album. Sorry, go ahead.
no, that I mean it's great. And then leave some space, for the to let the tap dancers do their thing.
Yeah, and I guess, and sometimes that's my next question. Sorry, one more is I think
Good.
it's always this thing of space. But sometimes like all of the elements of how tap dance can be incorporated, I think sometimes it always feels like, I might go somewhere and all of a sudden everyone stops playing or something in a moment versus like contributing all together.
Yeah.
And I'm, of course, space. I totally hear that too. I'm just curious your thoughts on that as well, because it's kind of confusing for me. I feel when I go to sessions, how to kind of sometimes it's like people play, sometimes they don't. Is it a matter of me communicating more or how it just fits in the music, I suppose? Um, yeah, so that was a lot.
No, it's good. I think the thing that's missing from music are people don't communicate enough verbally while they're playing. They think like it's it's outlawed. Like you can't say to the drummer, "Come on, can you play a little more?" I mean, you say it nicely, or like
Absolutely.
or you should be able to say to a piano player, "Hey man, can you lay out? Can you stroll, just, for a little while?" And they shouldn't feel sensitive about it, because it's only should ever be, for the music. So I don't think that it's a problem for you to tell the bass player and pianist if they drop out, like, come on, I need you here.
So thank you so much.
No problem.
Hello?
Yeah,
Can you hear me, Josh?
I can hear you.
Hey, man, I've been having so much trouble joining the call. It's been insane.
Yeah, I
But man,
understand.
I so appreciate you for being here, man. This is, I'm sure, were people able to ask you questions while I was gone?
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's all good, man.
Amazing.
Yeah,
Are
yeah.
there any more? Are there any more questions? Joshua Jennings, I see Joshua. If there are not any more questions, you know, Josh, I sent you a message. I think it'd be great. I know a lot of students, trumpet students in the shed would love to, have lessons with you. So we can definitely hook you up and like set you up so that like we can make that happen. And
Yeah.
then, you're a great arranger.
You know-
We talked about earlier with Kyle how we can also get some arranging classes. I think, there's a lot we can do. So I just want to say thank you again, man, for being here with us. I appreciate you so much. And I hope to do this again where it's a lot smoother.
Let's do it. All right, man.
Hey, man. Thank you, bro. I'll
Appreciate you.
see you.
Yep.
I'll see you very soon. And thank
Yes, sir.
everybody that's here.
Thank you.